chances are if you clicked on this video, you're looking to strengthen your intuitive abilities. And you might even think that you don't have any intuitive abilities, but the truth is everybody has the ability to tap into this inner wisdom. While it seems like it might come a lot easier for some people, the truth is there is a lot of behind the scenes work that needs to occur to tap into your intuition. One of my number one things that I usually recommend to people is to trust your instincts and release this resistance around trusting your gut feeling. A lot of times what happens is we end up arguing with our intuition instead of just trusting it. Your logical mind tends to get a little bit fixated on things that it can see and touch, whereas your intuition is more about feeling. Maybe you might have even found yourself in a situation at one point in time where your gut was telling you that something just wasn't right. And what ends up happening with a lot of people is that they end up dismissing this inner wisdom, this inner information as something that is not true, or their mind playing games on them. So when I finally recognized that it was time to start trusting my intuition, I started observing the energy in situations that I would find myself in, and even people. And your intuition is something that your logical mind has a hard time understanding. The more that you practice and observe energy of people that you come across, the more in tune with your intuition you're going to become. And you might think that your intuition is going to talk to you in a way kind of like banging on the door of your mind in a loud message like that. It usually actually is pretty subtle. It can actually come in a number of different ways. Everybody has a relationship with their intuition that's gonna look different. And that's where the 4 clairs of intuition come in. And the first one is clairvoyant, also known as clear seeing. And with this one, the messages will usually come through in the form of images or symbols. These symbols and images will be shown in your mind's eye. If someone is feeling really overwhelmed, you might be shown someone drowning or carrying heavy weights on their back. And I know for me, sometimes when it's time for somebody to take the next step in their life or in their journey or go forward with something, I will see somebody walking upstairs. And this is just one of the ways that images or symbols can show up. The one way that you can start to develop this skill is to use tarot cards, oracle cards, or even just playing cards, and try to guess the image, color, symbols that are on the other side of the card when it's flipped down. And just remember to be patient with yourself. This is something that takes practice in order to hone in on this skill. The next clair is clairsentience, also known as clear feeling. And this is like that strong gut feeling. Clair is all about sensing energy. And so you might even get a gut feeling on somebody's energy before you even meet them. This is all about being able to read other people's emotions. So you might get a gut feeling if somebody is feeling nervous, if they're feeling anxious, or if they're feeling really happy. This can sometimes even show up as physical symptoms. So if I'm doing a reading for somebody and they are really nervous, I might actually pick up on that energy and feel butterflies in my stomach. And just remember to be patient with yourself. This is not something that comes overnight. This is something that has to be usually worked towards. And just a tip on how you can start to develop this clair is start paying attention to when you get these strong gut feelings. You might even journal about it and then look back later and see just how many messages are actually already coming through. That can be a really powerful tool to help you with realizing how many messages you're actually already getting. And the next one is claircognizance, and this one is a clear knowing. So this usually will come in the form of subconscious downloads in your mind. This is like the inner knowing, and so when your logical brain is stumped, this one can be a really good one to tap into. If you're wondering the best way to do something, or if you should proceed with something in your life, you can silently ask your intuition, and you can use this clair in order to get a straightforward answer. And a tip to help you develop this clair is to simply just practice. I know it kind of sounds redundant at this point, but really the key to developing these clairs is to just practice. So maybe you want to know another person's intentions. You can sit quietly and ask your intuition for an answer, and journal and notice any thoughts that come to your mind. And the last one is clairaudience, and this is clear hearing. This one sounds like somebody is talking to you in your mind. I just want to point out that the voice is never going to be tormenting or harsh like it would be with some sort of psychological disorder. This is usually a subtle, calm, quiet message. And the message is going to be pretty straightforward. I know that there's actually been some instances where the message was so clear that I could have sworn that somebody was right behind me talking. So getting quiet enough and still enough to be able to hear these messages for all of the clairs really, but especially the clairaudient one, I think that this one has probably been one of the harder ones for me to develop. I don't always hear messages in this format. It's been very sporadic. So a way that you can help to develop this clair is to simply sit quiet and ask a question to your intuition and see if you can actually hear something. And if you hear something, make sure you are not second guessing yourself and just go with the answer that you get. So the more that you have faith in your intuition, the greater your results are going to be. It's so important to trust your energy levels. So if you are around someone that makes you feel drained every single time you are around them, take notice. This is what we call energy vampires, and that'll be for another video. Bottom line is if you don't feel good being around someone, that is your intuition talking. These messages can show up to you with quick flashing images. You might get chills, you might get goosebumps. So physical sensations, emotions, you could feel maybe confused, you could have an overwhelming sense of joy. You might also feel physical sensations. So if your intuition is trying to steer you away from a situation, you might feel really confused or disoriented with your energy. And if your intuition is trying to steer you down a path, you're gonna have a profound sense of happiness and peace. It's like a deep sense of knowing. And one of the other things that's really helped me to develop my intuition is meditation. In order for us to strengthen our intuition, we need to have a deeper connection to it. It's all about clearing and silencing your mind enough to be able to recognize these subtle nudges. And in my personal opinion, the best way to start is with a guided meditation, and I would start with even just 5 minutes. I know anything longer than that when you're just getting started can be really overwhelming and can turn into a nap session. But hey, I'm not opposed to that at all. Guided meditation is still one of my favorites because it really helps me to focus and not get distracted in a sea of thoughts in my mind. The prompts are really great for tapping into your visual self. And I know really this is redundant, but it all comes down to practice, 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 and paying attention to if you see any images or symbols or anything like that while you're meditating. If you're watching this and you think that you're not intuitive, just remember that intuitive people don't have anything that you don't or can't develop. Everybody has the ability to tap into their intuition. And lastly, something that's really helped me to strengthen my intuition is working with tarot and oracle cards and doing regular card pulls on myself or even practice on friends and family. If you have been feeling really overwhelmed with getting started with something like tarot cards, I'm going to reiterate what a lot of people have already reiterated, just to not get stuck on trying to memorize the meanings to all the cards. There are a lot of cards to learn, and if you read reversals, there's even more cards. So it's really good to do card pulls and see where your eyes get drawn to on the card and see what comes up in your mind's eye. And when I was first starting, I used to get really caught up in trying to memorize all of the meanings to the cards. I think really what's important is learning what in general the suits mean and maybe the numbers in numerology. Other than that, I think it's more important to go with your intuitive wisdom on the cards. Each tarot card tells a story, so if you look at it from that point of view, look at the card and see what story it's trying to tell you and see if you can come up with a key word on what you think the card should be about. Each card tells a story, so when you're looking at the cards, see if you can come up with a key word to describe that card. Then build on this and see what you come up with. Strengthening your intuition can be a really long process and can sometimes take years to develop. And even years into your practice, you're never going to be at the finish line. It's a consistent effort of growing. The bottom line is that strengthening your intuition, it really just takes time. And I know for myself, it took years to get me to this point. I look at it as a journey, not a destination. I feel like I'm always going to be working on fine-tuning my intuitive abilities. And with that said, let's do a collective card reading from my Star Seed Oracle deck. I already did a shuffle, but let's just kind of shuffle them up. Okay. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, 2 came out. Okay, I guess we need 2 messages. Whale and Orca elders, share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. Okay. Cracked open, rock bottom, surrender to the alchemy of life. This one is cool too. Okay, so Whale and Orca elders. Okay, wait a minute. This is at the end. There we go. The Whale and Orca elders are benevolent cosmic beings here to anchor a frequency of love onto the planet, to harmonize it with their song. As they weave around the oceans, they do so much more than any of us know. Their physical presence affects Earth's magnetic field, and their harmonics call us to wake up and remember our own soul's song. Looking into the eye of a whale is something you'll never forget. Whales see into your very being, and in an instant, you're changed forever. They see beyond the physical, the woundings, the identity, the personality, the story. They see right into your soul. If you pull this card, you're being called to surrender to your deepest truth and share it with potency. To bow to who you truly are, to stretch your heart wide enough to hold it all, to leave your fears, doubts, and baggage at the door, to question any part of you that doesn't feel good enough. The Whale and Orca elders want you to give others the privilege of seeing who you truly are, and for you to see the same in other beings, to drop your hangups and personality flaws and get busy revealing the unique note your soul came here to sing. Allow the song that echoes in the 4 chambers of your heart to emanate in all 4 directions. Peel back the layers of suffering and pain and reveal to others your soul's true song, and endeavor to see the soul of all those you meet. How are you being called to share your soul's unique song? Okay. Cracked open. Oh, there we go. Don't let the weight and density of the world squash your tender spirit. Instead, let it call even more of it home into your body, at the center front of your life. It's through the extreme pressure of life's trials that diamonds are cultivated. It's when things are at their darkest that we cultivate proper faith and our light is ignited. It's through the crumbling that we can allow our wounds to be alchemized. Let your pain, sorrow, and losses make you, not break you. Let life alchemize your tragedies into gold. Be open to being cracked open, wide open. It's the difficult times that help us grow in leaps and bounds, and in ways we could only dream were possible. But first, they have to crack us open. Sometimes it hurts like hell. It's nature's way, whether you let it happen or not. It's gonna happen, so surrender to the process. It's how the light gets in. When your heart cracks open, a space is created for your soul to more fully enter. When your soul cracks open, a space is created for the grace of the Holy Spirit to enter. Let your trials, your sorrows, your pains, and your losses transform you into more and more of yourself. Stay open to the possibility that your tragedies, your losses, your sorrows, and your hurt happened for you, not to you. Bless the thing that broke you down and cracked you open, because the world needs you open. Surrender to the alchemy of life. How can you let life crack you open? Wow, that one was such a good message. And I really feel like, and I know I've been talking to a bunch of people, the last quarter of last year was really intense as far as just energy wise, and it seemed like there was a lot of things that were moving and like bringing people to the brink of like so much anxiety, a lot of like just heightened emotions at the later quarter of last year. And so that message was really, yeah, like I know last quarter for me last year was really difficult, and sometimes it takes getting to rock bottom, and it's all about trying to turn your tragedies into something more positive. It's kind of like the saying goes, turning your lemon into lemonade. I really feel like last quarter of 2022, it was very much about turning your lemons into lemonade, and I feel like it was a collective energy. So that actually brought me a lot of comfort, knowing that it wasn't just me, and it wasn't like just me imagining things. It wasn't an isolated instance. It seemed like it was, a collective thing. So with that said, thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope this video was really helpful, maybe gave you some confirming messages, tips. So if you liked it, comment. Don't forget to subscribe to my new channel.